Hey everybody, welcome to the 135th animated edition, or not animated edition, but 135th edition of the Animated Girls Profile Confidential. And this might be a surprise to all of you, but we are talking about from Gundam, I think G Gundam, Mobile Suit G Gundam. We are talking about, surprisingly, the ever popular Rain Mikamura. Mikamura. Correct me if I say that, if I pronounce that wrong, but Rain Mikamura, who apparently is a very popular character, not just in Gundam, but in anime, because, a lot of people cosplay as her. There's a lot of PVC statues and stuff about her, some that are, crazy expensive. In fact, one of them goes to about $135. And apparently she's also the love interest of our main protagonist in G Gundam. And it takes basically, from what I'm understanding, to the very end for the main protagonist to even wake up and realize, okay, maybe I do love this girl and I have to, I have to profess it. And the reason he has to profess it, apparently, is she ends up getting roboticized. Now, I know you're thinking, well, what do you mean roboticized? Okay, let me make that more clear. She basically gets, what's the word I'm looking for? She gets metallized, androids. She gets gyrosized and metallized, whatever. Long story short, she gets basically tricked, if you will. I wouldn't say tricked, but, something happens, later on in the series. That obviously you don't have to watch the series for too long to realize it. It's only for a couple of episodes, if that. Where basically she gets turned into a battery. Yeah. She gets turned into what's known as a core life unit. And it takes our main protagonist to profess his love for her after being advised, hey, the only way you can help her and get her out of this and get her to free herself is to profess your love for her. And that's what he does. He ends up professing his love for her, which allows her to break free and, fly right towards him. And together, they're able to defeat, their enemy that, did this to her and all that, as well as, the enemy that's trying to hurt the universe and the world or something like that. But yeah, she's obviously a very, obviously she's a very popular character, with a lot of fans, in anime, manga, and all that. In fact, a lot of fans, like, as I mentioned, will cosplay, as her at certain events. Like, I'm not going to be surprised at the San Diego Comic-Con, later this year in a couple of months or several months. Yeah, I think that's July, right? About a week before my birthday or around my birthday. Because my birthday is around July 25th, so it's around that time. I wouldn't be surprised if you go there and you see some people, some ladies dressed up as Rain Mikamura. I would not be surprised by that. In fact, Mr. Internet Man, excuse me, I just heard something outside. But Mr. Internet Man even did a little bit of a little mini web comic, with his character of Demonica Veronica. And I think, what was the other characters? From AYE, I'm sorry if I put AYE01, and their characters in the fused form. You see, okay, long story short, AYE01, I think that's their name. I do apologize if I pronounce it wrong. Their characters, their two main characters like to get into a lot of shape-shifting shenanigans, fusion shenanigans, liquidy, melty shenanigans, stuff like that, transformation shenanigans. And, they, AYE01, again, I'm sorry if I forget the name there, I do apologize. But they like to, you know, have their two characters fused together into one person. So, long story short, Mr. Internet Man did a webcomic where his character, Demonica Veronica, you know, Veronica as Demonica, fused with the fused version of these two characters from AYE01. And what they fused into was Rain Mikamura. So yeah, there you go. It shows you that they could have chose anyone, but they went with Rain. They went with Rain Mikamura, and that was it. That was it. That was the end of the comic. But again, it shows you how popular the character is. If out of all the anime characters, anime female characters they could have gone with the two characters, or even original characters they could have came up with, or Mr. Internet Man could have came up with for that comic, for the two beings to fuse into, they chose Rain. So again, it shows you how popular the character is. But yeah, she is the kind of character that ended up in a situation to where basically, like I said, the protagonist had to save her by professing his love for her, and that gave her the strength to break free, because when she was in that core life unit-like situation, you know, she could still, you know, she could hear, she can hear and everything, but she couldn't do nothing. She couldn't do nothing about it. She couldn't say anything or anything. She couldn't feel. I mean, she couldn't feel, but she couldn't. Okay, let me correct myself. Like I was saying, she could hear and everything. She could feel a little bit, but she couldn't do nothing about it because she was just basically being used as a battery now. She was just, you know, a unit, you know, a machine. And, you know, the other situation is when he would try to free her, you know, in his current state, in his regular state, he couldn't do it. And instead of freeing her, it would infect any damage he would cause to the unit, her being part of it now would cause pain to her. So again, basically thanks to the advice of somebody, he went into his, I guess you could say, super form, and acknowledged that he does care about her, you know, as much as she cares about him. And thus, that was enough to enable her to break free and reunite with him, and together defeat this enemy that did this to her and others. But yeah, you know, outside of that, you know, she's made other appearances in other Gundam-related material and series and movies. And from what I understand, you know, in some of them, she has played a prominent role. You know, she has played a prominent role at times. Again, depending, you know, on, you know, the interpretation of Gundam, the spin-off, the reboots, whatever. You know, she's played a very intricate role, sometimes main role, in these series, in these mangas, in these animes and movies and stuff like that. So, yeah, at the end of the day, outside of what I know about her, or what I've recently known about her, and finding out why she's very popular with fans of anime and manga and all across, and is one of the more, I guess you could say, cosplayed characters at conventions like San Diego Comic-Con, you know, I don't really have much more to say. I mean, again, she is a very popular character, apparently, that fans, you know, like to talk about her a lot, cosplay about her a lot. You know, she's obviously a very popular character, you know, to the point that she's gotten various statues, PVCs, you know, you name it, based off of her. And some of them being the more expensive ones, you know. But yeah, I can't really say more about Rain Mikamura. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Rain Mikamura. Just let me know what your thoughts are, though, down below in the comments, as well as in the live chat during the premiere. Like the video. Love to hear from each and every one of you on this. But yeah, if any of you know more about Rain, I'd love to hear it in the live chat as well in the comments. You know, help educate me and anybody else that may not know much about the character. And until next time, guys, I will talk to y'all later. Take care. God bless.